Hello and welcome to Creative Sewing. I'm Aideen Cross. I'm delighted you can join me here today for this tutorial of our Made with Love series of tutorials. And of course we're starting off with the Christmas one, and I have a little Christmas card we're going to make today. And the series of Made with Love tutorials is all about seasonal traditions, I suppose. And of course the Christmas one is, I suppose, the gift of giving at Christmas. And it's a great tradition and custom across the world, of course, the giving and receiving of gifts, and nothing nicer than receiving a gift, and of course nothing even nicer again than even giving a gift, and to the ones we love, and a little appreciation, I suppose, of what things people do for us. And what's nicer even to get a Christmas card or a handmade Christmas card through the post, a little way of saying thank you for all that's done through the year for us, indeed. You know, so let's start, and we have the pack sent out. All you'll need here then to make your Christmas card. We'll start with the main part here, the blue. So we need to start with this part that we're going to complete a full blue piece, and then we'll eventually put the snow on top. So we have the pattern piece here. Cut one of the blue cotton, if you can cut that full piece out. So we have our piece here, and getting your fabric scissors then. Yeah, so cutting it all around. If you want, we can do our snow next and cut out our snow. Then we're just getting our little piece of white, and we'll be pinning that on as well. Okay. Now it's only a matter of layering up this now. So we're layering it up one on top of the other, okay, like so. Pin along, just along the edge here, okay. So literally that's it. So up on your machine, and just over the top then we're doing a little straight stitch, okay. 2 stitches and a back stitch. Okay, so that's it there now. So leave that over to one side. Now we need to do our Christmas tree. Okay, so we're going to layer up all the pieces here, and going to cut them out first, of course, as well. So we have a little pattern here on the corner. So first, because we're going to sew them all together first, and cut them out, sew them all together, and then we'll be cutting our tree out. Or what suits you. Now I'm actually going to cut them out together. So I'm going to layer them all up, okay, the way I want them, and then I'm going to put the pattern piece on top. I'm going to cut the 4 out together. It's quite thick, but it's 4, so it'll be 5 layers then all together. And we'll get our 5 layers done, and that. Okay, so that's the 5 layers then cut out, taking your pins off, and we'll just arrange them again in the way we need them. Putting the Christmas tree on top, the print, red stars, the white soft print, and the red soft print. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'll layer them up like that, and you're folding then 2 right sides together from the bottom back up, okay? Putting a couple of pins in, and you're sewing then across there, okay? And your seam allowance then is going to be 7 millimeters then in. You can measure 7 millimeters in on your from your center needle to the edge, see where it hits on your machine, and then of course lay that up to it, okay? Now it's actually at the edge of my foot, the 7 millimeters, so that's quite handy. So 2 stitches and a back stitch, taking out your pins as you go at the end as well. Okay, now we will actually do that in quite a tight stitch, so go down to about 1.5 then for that, because we'll be cutting through it, and we don't want it to rip, because we will be cutting the Christmas tree through this. So back down then, you lay it back up again, and then you flip the next one back down, and of course 2 pins in, and then using your 7 millimeter seam allowance, then okay, that's it, okay, and then lining up your next one and folding it down as well, okay, and back in here, 7 millimeter seam allowance, 2 stitches and a back stitch, and keep on cutting. Okay, back down again, and your last one then, your little Christmas trees at the top, then pinning, and your 7 centimeters seam allowance, and continue on. Okay. Now, okay, so that's our little pieces then for the Christmas tree, and we're ready then. We can actually cut out a Christmas tree pattern here as well, because we're putting that on in a few minutes, but we will need to press it first. And you want to keep your fabric scissors for fabric. For when we want to, but we're going to go to the ironing board now. We're going to press open all these seams. So we're going to open up the seams, give them a bit of a press. Okay, so we'll just give a little bit of a press on each one. Now, so that's them all done. Okay, now before we cut out the Christmas tree, what we're going to do is actually put a little bit of Bondaweb on. The Bondaweb has glue, of course, on one side and paper on the other. So just get a little piece the size of that and just cut that out. So you want to make sure and feel put your piece with all the seams facing up to you, your back side up, and of course the glue side down. It's the kind of sugary side, feel it, and down. Now, no steam on this just now. Okay, so just turn off your steam, all right, and just iron this on. A few minutes should iron it on, and you can pull off the film then, and you're pulling off that, but it's leaving a film of glue behind it. Okay, so there it is. So we'll be able to cut our tree out now, and we'll have a little bit of glue on the back of it, just to make it easier to stick onto the next section. You're pinning this on. Try and line them up if you can. It won't make a difference if they're not lined up exactly where the little bumps are on the side, and just cutting it all around. Okay. Now that's your Christmas tree done there. Okay, and taking off your pins, then be able to place it on top of this. Okay, and we'll just lay it on top there. Okay, so lay it on top, and we will give it an iron in a minute, but I'm actually going to do up the little stump of the tree, which is this part here. Now a little bit of brown there, just to cut that out and make it off the tree. So that's that there cut out. So we can just tuck that in underneath at the end. Okay, and have that done. All right. Now, and then you're putting back on your steam now. Okay, and you're steaming it on. Okay, steaming it on. So that's it. It's actually steaming. A couple of seconds does it, and I just barely caught the little stump as well, and that'll keep it in place while we sew it. So we're actually going to sew that now. A little straight stitch again all the way around. You can keep it at a number of 1.5 or 2. And just on the very edge, I'm starting at the stump here with the 2 stitches and back stitch, and just going on the very edge, nice and slowly, lifting and turning, and going with the bumps on the edges. Now we're going to do the little stump as well. Then you can just literally go down. Okay. That's it, and that's your little piece done then there. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to do a little bit of hand sewing, and just for a little twinkle. Now when we're finished that, then you can do a quick little back stitch at the back, just to hold those in place, but we needn't cut off our thread. So what we can do then is just bring our thread down at the back and start doing our little white sequins then at this stage then. Okay, so we can get those, and the same thing, just coming up from the center into the bead and back down at the side, and one little stitch should do them. I mean, there's nothing going to fall off, and I've put some in just on the Christmas tree themselves and on the little sky part too, but be careful not to pull it. Okay, so leaving it quite loose at the back, that you're not pulling and having it all puckered from one to the next. Okay, so just randomly, of course, it's stitching just a few little beads here and there. Now I think we have enough done there on that. Okay, you can do as many as you like. So when you're finished, then just bring it to the back then, and you're doing a little back stitch then here, just a couple of little stitches to make it nice and good and secure. Now at this stage now we want to put it onto our other fabric, which is this backing fabric. We can just actually put back down this on top. Okay, keeping it nice and straight, and use this as our pattern. And we'll just go out about 5 millimeters out from the edge of that. Okay, about 5 to 7 millimeters all the way around, just giving a little. Now we're going to fringe the edge of that as well. So when you have that done, that's it, up to 5 to 7 millimeters out from the edge. And what I was doing then was shredding the edges of it, just to give it a nice fringed effect. Okay, so you can do the same as well. Okay, one more side to do here. Okay, or you could use a pinking shears on that too if you wanted something nice and fancy around the edges, and can be quite nice too. So if you want to use your Bondaweb again, okay, so we can put our Bondaweb on again, putting it on, and again turn off your steam, okay, when you're putting it onto the back of this, making sure you have the sugary side down. Always feel that you have the sugary side down. All right, and you're putting it on again there, like, and of course taking off your, pulling off the paper then as we need it. Okay, so we have our Bondaweb on the back there now, and just flattening it out, and we'll put it in position then. Okay, so up on the ironing board then again, and in position, and we can turn on our steam now at this stage. Okay, now if you want, you can actually use a little bit of paper to go over that, so you're not destroying the beads. Okay, now so that should be it, all glued on. But of course we want to stitch it on as well, and we won't stitch it on now, we'll stitch it on when we stitch it on the card. So what I'm going to do is get our card here, okay, and we're going to put it on. And in order to keep it in place then, if you use a little bit of backed sellotape or a little bit of double-sided tape, just to put it in place. Don't put it on too much near the edge, because you don't want to be stitching over it. So I'm going to put a little bit of double-sided tape on there, just enough to keep it in place. So put a double-sided tape if you can, and just position it in place where you want it. Okay, as so, and then we're actually going to stitch it onto the card then here on with the machine. It can be quite easily done. Now lengthen your stitch, make it a longer stitch on the machine. I'm going up to number 4, okay, and I'm going to start at the top here. Okay, and I'm stitching on the blue, around the blue and the white, and all the way around. Okay, okay. Okay, so that's our card done. Okay, almost. If you want, then you can. I have some longer pieces here. If you wanted to put them on the inside for little messages, there's Happy Christmas, pine cones, and the same here. If you wanted to add a little bit more writing or something, Happy Christmas, cut these out, and with a little bit of Bondaweb, you can actually put them on, like what I did here on this one here, and on the inside there, you can add in little messages and stuff that I have on the fabric here. Okay. Now that's our Christmas card made now, and it certainly looks well, and I'm delighted you could join me today. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial as well, and I want to wish you all a happy Christmas, and certainly maybe looking back forward to seeing you again here in January, or from the springtime tutorials in our Made to Love series. Okay, best of luck. Take care. Bye bye.